Alright guys, we're back here. We got the new Phazer project going. And first thing I gotta do is remodify this. I already modified it a little bit to get a little more clearance in the tunnel, but I didn't go up far enough. So now I have a clearance issue with the track where it's welded. So I'll have to recut it up here at this bend and run that down to my new front edge. I'll probably also have to modify my steering linkage. I added a 1/2-inch plate in there to get a little more clearance on the bottom, but now that this is going to be tighter, I'll probably have to lengthen this to bring it out a little farther. And hopefully that'll be it, but if I have to, I'll be drilling a hole closer to the shaft and moving the bolt up a little farther. Alright, so I got this cleaned up, cut out now. Probably should have cleaned my welds up a little better, but I'm not too concerned about it. You'll have to cut right along the back of the steering mount, so I'm a little concerned with my steering bolts making it through. But I think I just drill a hole and have them poke into the tunnel a little ways. There should be plenty of clearance now. So once you do that, you get your piece of sheet metal, your new bulkhead. Kind of slip it up in there. I chose to go with the whole new front. And then I'm going to put some self-tappers in the top just to pull it up there and weld it in, and then take the self-tappers out and weld the holes shut. And I bent this a little too far, but that'll be alright. We can bend her back. Alright, so when you get your new bulkhead welded in there, I should have brought a light over here, but get it welded in, take your self-tappers out, and then I'm going to weld those holes shut, and I'm going to cut this front piece off and then finish welding it up here at the top. I couldn't get to it from the inside, so yeah, that's about it. I mean, it's not super complicated. Weld your plate down to the bulkhead again, and then weld up the sides. There we go. That even looks a lot better than the last one I did, so that's good. And we can see, because I left that weld in, you can see where it was hitting before is way out here. And now we've gained a bunch of space right there, so should be more than good now. Alright, so I got that all trimmed up, finished welding it. Also took these top slides or whatever they are out of the tunnel, because I think those are going to give me a clearance issue up here at the front. Made a little modification of this for putting the axle in. Originally it was just this hole, but I cut this one and slotted it so that I can get it past the drive lugs and then go up with it. Just a little thing, because I know that was a kind of a pain on the last one, and it wasn't even as tall of a lug, so hopefully that'll work good. So now we got to get the track in, and yeah, then we can get to mounting suspension. Alright, so I got the track in. There's not a lot of clearance in there, but enough. The bearing in this side, and I got the chain case back on over here. And yeah. So this track, I don't know why, but it will not. The guy I bought it from must have had it rolled up for quite a long time, because it won't go just round. It's always trying to have this little curve to it, and so let's get the suspension in it. Suspension's over here. This is late 90s RMK suspension from what I could gather. that's about it. I don't know anything else about it. It's out of a Polaris. I'm currently wondering how many holes I can drill in it to get some weight off of it, because it's a very heavy built suspension. But yeah, it should work. I test fit it, and unfortunately my front mounts won't line up with where they used to be on the Phazer. So I'm gonna have to build some little plates to move that back, and so it'll still be strong and tied into the bulkhead and not just the tunnel. I had to cut this down. I had to take 3/8 of an inch off of each side. I didn't do the back because I can just make the mounts to accompany that, and it should be fine. But yeah, so let's get it in there and see how it looks. Got the suspension in. It's looking pretty good. A lot shorter than I thought it was gonna look, but it is what it is. So now my front mounting holes, unlike my 151 I built, I can't just reuse those because the Polaris skid wants to be bolted in back here. So I'm going to make some triangle plates to strengthen that, to make sure it's hooked into that and it doesn't just rip the tunnel out the first time I hit something with it. So yeah, we'll have to do that. I may or may not have to shorten the rails a little bit. Actually, the very front of the rail is about beside the driver. So let me grab a light and I can show you that a little better. Okay, you see that? Like that's, I think that's way too close, but I think I can cut probably 2-3 inches off of the rail right there and just move everything back. So I might have to do that. I don't think they'll hit, but I don't really want to find out either. I'm going to just make the modifications because I will be tearing this apart one more time to paint everything. I'm going to go a little more in depth with the color scheme on this one than I did my 151. But for now, we're just mounting stuff up. Got the front plates mounted up. So you got the suspension there, I got the track tight now. Just got to make the rear mounts. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do this. I think I'll actually have the plates on the outside of the tunnel. That should line me up better with the mounts for on the suspension because they're a little wider. I won't be using this tunnel, I don't think. It won't be too hard for me to get another one, so I don't think I'm going to mess with that. Trying to fix that. But for now I just want to get the mounts made so I kind of have an idea what I'm dealing with here. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to slice the running board off right there and have the mounts for the rear of the suspension just come up on the outside. I think that should work. And then we just put the normal front suspension back on, all the steering and everything. There was nothing really wrong with the skis. So they're steel skis, they're heavy, but this sled's gonna get pretty abused, so I just painted them up and I put the covers back on and just gonna reuse them. That way if I destroy one I won't feel so bad. I can just go get another one pretty cheap. So here we've got the tunnel cut apart. And this is kind of what I'm just going for. I had to take the reflector off. I'll have to pull that decal off before I paint it. But so as you can see, it still sticks out quite a ways. But I have these plates, 1/4 inch aluminum. I'm not sure what alloy, but 12 by 12. I bought them. I think I'll need that big of a mount. So I think I'm going to cut one in half and just have a 6-inch wide strip that goes all the way up to the top of the tunnel. And I think that should be more than adequate mount. Alright, got my rear mount made up. I think that should be tough enough. I'll probably put some holes in it when I get closer to being done. When I get the actual tunnel I'll use on it. Because this is probably a little overkill. But that's alright for now. But yeah, so I just got to make one for the other side. And just throw a couple bolts in here just to hold it for now. And then we should be good to go. That should work. Okay, now that I've got the tunnel redesigned, my steering is way too far away from that. So I don't have the rod in the right way, but so what I'm going to do is cut it right here and put a solid bar in there and just stretch it out as far as I can, and hopefully just bringing it farther this way will get it away from the tunnel. Okay, so we got that taken care of. If you guys do this, so what I had to do is cut and lengthen that shaft by about 1 inch. I probably got 4 or 5 inches of solid rod in there just for strength. I welded the bottom and the top of that and the bottom of that. And then I actually had to slice this bracket and overlap it and weld it again. I pretty much expect this to be the breaking point down here when something does break, but other than that, it's missing the tunnel, so that's good. And hopefully that fixes some of my lining up the steering issues. I would have had to really shorten this. Hopefully I won't have to shorten this rod as much now. So there we go, there's the chassis for the new sled. Almost done. Got to finish putting all my steering linkages in and drivetrain, and I'm still in the decision making mode of the engine. I know I can get a 600 liquid cooled out of a VMAX, and then I would just get a tunnel off of probably an older VMAX or an exciter and put on here, and that would probably be long enough too. But The other route would be 540 and then put dual carbs on it. I've looked into that too. And it's all kind of where I find the cheapest engine, I guess. But given that it's December 1st and while I'm building this there is a downpour going on outside and it's raining, it almost seems air-cooled might be the way to go still. But I haven't quite made the decision on that yet. So when I do, you guys will be the first ones to know, probably. So if you like what I'm doing with the Phazer, hit that like button below, and if you want to keep up with it, hit subscribe. And thanks for watching.